These sometimes are kind of tricky. I should say they're always kind of tricky. Oh, there we go. All right. So there's a million pullers out there. This type, a bunch of other kinds. I find my favorite one is just this small screwdriver with a hook cut into it. Fits right down next to the crank. Doesn't scar it up. Doesn't take much once you get it in there. In behind the seal, it doesn't take much of a twist like that, and it hooks the lip, and you can just pry it out of there. So that one's out. We're going to put a new one in. All right, guys. So today we're doing crank seals in this 2159, and kind of a super simple way to do it. You know, you can buy kits that guys are selling now for installing these, and they sell, anyways, they sell different tools and different kits for doing these. The way I've always done it, and I've never had a problem, just cut yourself a little tiny piece of aluminum can, whatever your favorite variety might be, rolled up in a small little circle here, and insert it into the center of the seal. Okay, it's like so. Take that and put that down over your crankshaft. Okay. What that's going to do is ensure that this little ring inside of here, this spring that keeps pressure on the inside of that inner seal lip, it's going to ensure that it doesn't hit a ledge and roll up out of its groove. It'll just ensure that when this hits a step in the crank, or where it tapers or anything like that, it doesn't spit that spring out of its groove where it's supposed to be. And anybody who's installed seals for any amount of time has probably done it once or twice. So anyways, that's what I use. Works perfect. The only thing you have to do is make sure that your tool you're using to drive them is taller than what your piece you cut here is, because if it's not, you'll smash into that and it kind of changes the dynamics of things. But okay, so we got that there. We're going to get this squared up by feel. Okay, feels even all the way around. We're just going to go slow, nice light little taps until it's seated where we want it to be seated. Okay, and you can feel with your fingers, if you feel the seal starting, you know, if it's not going down perfectly level, you give a couple taps and you feel it going like this. Keep holding it low down here and you'll feel with your fingertips, and then you can kind of adjust and hit just a touch more on that side to get that side going down, or whatever side you need to get them driven in there straight. Just nice and slow. Okay, the slower you go, the better when you're doing it this way. Probably any way for that matter, but you feel with your fingertip, your dexterity, or I don't know, that's probably not the right term. I don't know. I'm not that learned. But you can feel with your fingertip better than anything what side needs to be up or what side needs to be down. As well as visual, but okay. All right. And then all you have to do is pull this out, and when you pull this out, I twist it as I pull it out, you know, the way it lays. So if where you have it wrapped, it's laying like this, I twist it this way so that when you pull it out, this edge isn't trying to catch and snag the inside of the seal. Just like that, you got a seal installed. And anybody can do it this way. I mean, like anything, the proper tool is absolutely the thing to use when and if you have it. And if you don't, this way works just fine. And you just got to make sure that you keep this somewhat flush with the top on the seal. You don't want to just hammer it away, because you'll drive it all the way onto the bearing. And that's not good either. So we're going to flip this thing over and do this other side. Okay, so here we go on this side, and it's even more important to have something inside that seal lip on this side, because it actually has a ledge right here. And if it's going to roll that spring out of there, this is the side that'll do it. You know, this is a method anybody can use. If you're trying to do this in your garage and you don't have any fancy tools, you know, this works. Plain and simple. Okay. Just like so. And do the same thing on this one. Nice and easy. Looking, feeling, okay. There we go, it started. And I mean, you want it even the whole way down as you're going, but that initial, when you set it initially, that's the biggest key, because if you get it cocked like this and then try and hammer it back the other way, you end up kind of distorting the outside of that seal, the metal seal. So just take your time, guys. You can feel it. You'll know when it's going right or wrong. Okay? You'll know. Stopping and checking and stopping and checking. Okay. And this side's a little bit different to tell, because it's got where it's machined here, there's a boss, and then it's machined out where the oil pump goes. So it's a little different feeling on this side and then this side, but you'll be able to tell whether it's flush or not. Okay. You guys can do this stuff, all right? Plain and simple. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, so just like that, we got this seal done. So we'll grab a hold of this and give it a little pull. Okay, we got a nice smooth seal surface. It didn't, you know, I've had people ask me, well, won't that cut the, you know, won't this slice the seal? No. Well, I can't say no, but I've never had it happen, and this is the only way I've ever set seals. Are there better ways? Absolutely. But what I do sometimes is see that edge right there on this side? I kind of put a little bend in it or a roll in it like that, so that when you put it around here, and you roll it up like this, hopefully this will see. See how that outside edge is really forced down against itself. This outer edge that's showing here isn't popped up like this, trying to be a sharp edge. It folds itself right against. I hope that makes sense. Regardless, like I said, I'm not Not saying it wouldn't cut one, but I've never done one any other way than the way I just did it right now, and I've never had any issues. So, not that that's worth anything, but that's how I do them. All right, guys, we got this thing all buttoned up. We're gonna give her a start. Let it have its first heat cycle here. I don't know if it's got fuel in it or not. It does not. There's a bit of fresh gas in there. Okay, and we're not going to mess around pulling this thing until our arm falls off, so we're going to get a little squirt down the old carb throat here. Hopefully help it out a little bit. Just a little taste anyways. Let's see what happens. It's still got a pull fuel. Come on, baby. Well, it wants to. It wants to go. Okay, well, we might have got something goofed up in that carb kit, so I'll take a closer look, but we should know it fires. Okay, so after the saw wouldn't start or didn't want to run, I was pretty dang positive I put the carb and everything together correctly and all was assembled properly, so I kind of walked away from it, cleared my head, and I happened to be on a road trip that afternoon or the next day, and kind of light bulb went off mid-trip, and so called my wife and said, hey, can you go check something out for me? And sure enough, I left the impulse line off. The carb right here. So it's connected to the partition up there where it comes out of the cylinder, but I didn't get it connected to the holder back here where it needs to go so that the carb can get its impulse. So I'm going to hook that back on there and saw should run. So we got that impulse line back on the nipple there and should have a runner. So in all fairness, I had already started the saw and it has a couple heat cycles of just idle time on it, but I didn't have the camera on, so here you go. the top cover thrown back on here and get a handful of heat cycles on it, and then we'll go put it in some wood. So far, so good.